The desert stretched endlessly under the burning Californian sun, its silence only broken by the hum of insects and the crunch of dry sand beneath heavy boots. Soren, a young man carrying years of shadows within him, wandered these barren roads not searching for life, but hunting for the end of it. From his earliest memories, there was an obsession, an unnatural pull toward killing, toward the act of extinguishing another human soul. Yet, strangely, every time he tried, something inside him faltered. The blade would quiver in his hand, the rope would loosen, his finger would hesitate on the trigger. That hesitation had been his curse, his torment. But today, he swore it would end. He had chosen his victim. He had chosen Miranda Veil. Miranda was not a stranger to fear, but she had learned long ago to hide it beneath a mask of strength. A college student with dreams larger than her small-town roots, she lived her life quietly, often burying her loneliness beneath the pages of books and the glow of late-night drives. She never imagined her ordinary evening would become a descent into the unthinkable. When Soren's car slowed beside her on the side of a dusty road where she had been walking home, she did not feel the danger creeping into her veins until it was too late. Soren's plan was meticulous. He had rehearsed every detail in his mind. The abduction, the fear in her eyes, the sharp blades slicing into flesh. He wanted to feel the rush of power, the finality of death, the silence after a scream. He forced Miranda into his car, her muffled cries swallowed by the desert winds, and drove into the emptiness of the wilderness where no one would hear her. He believed this night would free him from his haunting hesitation. He believed Miranda Veil would be his first true kill. The knife gleamed under the pale moonlight as he pressed it against her skin. Miranda's breath caught in her throat, her eyes wide with terror, yet strangely defiant. She begged, pleaded, screamed, yet deep inside, there was a fire, a refusal to surrender. Soren drove the blade into her chest, the moment he had been craving, the climax of years of obsession. She collapsed in his arms, her life draining away in trembling gasps. At last, he thought he had done it. The rush came, but it was fleeting, replaced with a gnawing emptiness. He sat in the dirt, staring at her lifeless body, waiting for the satisfaction to fill him. Instead, only silence and dread consumed him. Then came the impossible. Miranda's fingers twitched. Her chest rose. Blood oozed, but her eyes opened, staring at him with something beyond fear, something otherworldly. She coughed, choked, and sat up, her wound still gaping yet refusing to end her life. Soren staggered back, his entire body trembling. He had killed her, but she would not die. This was not a trick. This was not luck. This was something unnatural. Miranda Veil could not be killed. Her voice was ragged, her face pale, but her words cut sharper than any knife. You can't end me. From that moment, the story became more than a killer and his victim. It became a nightmare of two souls bound together by fate, dragged across a journey through violence, pain, and the confrontation of human monsters who were far worse than either of them. Soren was shaken to his core. His obsession with killing collided with his disbelief, and Miranda became both his curse and his salvation. Desperate to prove his will, he tried again, strangulation, drowning, stabbing, but each attempt failed. Her body would break, but moments later she would return, bloodied yet alive, gasping and glaring at him. Instead of freeing himself, Soren became trapped in a spiral of horror, chained to a girl who refused to die. Miranda, however, was not a passive victim. With each resurrection, she grew stronger in spirit, even as her body was torn apart. She demanded answers, forced Soren to confront the emptiness inside him. Why did he want to kill? What was he running from? She mocked his failures, taunted his weakness, even as she endured the torment. In her pain, she discovered a twisted power, an invincibility that gave her courage. As the days stretched on, their journey led them through desolate highways and forgotten motels. Along the way, they encountered others, broken souls, violent drifters, men who embodied cruelty without remorse. Each time, Miranda stood in the path of danger, her inability to die becoming both a shield and a weapon. She was shot, stabbed, burned, and beaten, but always she returned. And in her survival, she became a reflection of Soren's sickness. Through Miranda's suffering, Soren began to see the truth about himself. He was not a man seeking power. He was a man trying to silence the voices in his head, the wounds of his past, the unrelenting need to destroy what he could not understand. Yet Miranda's existence forced him to face the one thing he could never conquer, the persistence of life. In one chilling moment, after yet another failed attempt to end her, Soren broke down. His hands trembled as he held the knife, tears cutting through the dirt on his face. "Why won't you die? Why won't you let me end this?" he begged, his voice fractured. Miranda, bloodied but standing, whispered back, "Because you don't get to decide when someone's story ends. Not mine. Not yours." It was then that the roles shifted. The killer became the captive, and the victim became the mirror. Miranda was not merely surviving his attempts, she was teaching him. In every painful resurrection, she revealed the horror of violence, the futility of cruelty, the emptiness of taking a life. Their journey culminated in the same desert where it had begun. The night was heavy with silence, the stars sharp above them. Soren collapsed, his strength gone, his knife useless. Miranda stood before him, scarred and stained with blood, but unbroken. For the first time, Soren saw her not as prey, not as a victim, but as something beyond human, a force of resilience, a reminder that death was not power, but life was. The desert swallowed their screams, their silence, their confessions. Miranda walked away, leaving Soren in the emptiness of his own despair. He had sought to kill her, but instead, she had killed the monster within him. The horror of Miranda Veil is not only in the violence, but in the revelation that sometimes the scariest thing is not death, but survival. Survival that refuses to end. Survival that forces us to face who we truly are.